Here we are. Here we are. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Richard Taylor TV, and my very special guest today, on this side, is Patrick Southern from LumaForge.
Wait, which hand do I wave with?
That's it. That's the one.
This one.
Both of those.
Okay. Hey guys, how's it going?
So, yesterday, LumaForge. You guys are superheroes, okay?
Thank you.
You really are. You're saving NAB for us. You really are. So you've taken over the Tuesday night slot at the Rio with Faster Together.
Yeah, that's right. We have Tuesday night at the Rio, April 9th. And we're going to be having both an expo area and we will be doing the Faster Together stage as never before seen in a massive room with a lot of people.
So what does that mean?
Evening.
As never before seen. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, traditionally we've done Faster Together as a 3-day event closer to the show floor, and we've been able to fit in about 30 different presentations because we're doing, around 10 presentations a day for 3 days straight.
Right.
This time we're a much shorter period of time in a much larger room. One evening, but also that means that we've got incredible speakers that are coming out to talk. And we were able to start the trickle yesterday of letting people know who some of those presenters are.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it, trickle. Trickle, you got three.
We
right?
do have 3. Yeah. Well, I say trickle. We're used to putting out 30 presentations, advertising that over a period of time.
Exactly.
It's not going to be a significant leap in number right between now and the end, but we do have our initial lineup. If you go to fastertogether.com, you can see the initial lineup. You can see when the event is, get some details there, book your tickets. And I believe is the code Jellyfish
2019.
Jellyfish 2019 is the code for 5% off your tickets.
No, $5 off.
Oh, $5, not 5%.
No, 5%
right,
would have been $1.25 or something like that.
Yes, for $1.25 off. No, yes, it's $5 off of your ticket with Jellyfish 2019. And you can also see all of the previous presentations from the last 2 years on the watch page on fastertogether.com. So you can see previous presentations, see the lineup as it's starting to build out, and get details and book your tickets.
So I just put up the code on the live stream, discount code Jellyfish 2019, save $5. And I was talking to Bill Davis last week about this discount code. Did you
Which Bill Davis? There are two Bill Davis.
Bill Davis, California, formerly Arizona.
Oh, formerly Arizona, the one who used to have the time zone issues.
Yes, he wouldn't change. The rest of the United States would change. He would not change. He refused to change. Even though the Indian reservations in Arizona did change, he didn't feel like that was enough of a reason to change. So.
Oh, man.
But the interesting thing was I told Bill that this discount code is not only good for Faster Together, saving $5, but it also saves you $5 off an actual jellyfish.
Does it?
I thought so. $5.
I mean, sure.
No, I'm only kidding.
I have no idea.
No, I was only kidding. No, that's not true. I was just teasing. I was teasing Bill.
I was going to say that $5 is not going to go far on a jellyfish. It goes far on the ticket.
Exactly.
The ticket's, what is it, $15, $20, something like that? I think it's $15 early bird.
15 early bird, exactly. So it's 30%, exactly.
Yeah. So $15 for the early bird, and then $5 off of that. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. So I'm going to post that on the Facebook group. So we have. So let's go over the lineup that you've announced so far. So once again, I was talking to Bill Davis last week, and I said I'm going to say, without knowing anything, that Michael Cioni's going to be there.
What? Why would you say that?
Because he's been there for the last 2 years.
I mean, that's a pretty decent indicator, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, we're extremely excited. Michael Cioni is coming back this year. And we just, we couldn't handle Cioni's presentation. The number of people coming in to the room couldn't fit in the rooms that we had either time that we had him speak.
Right.
Nor did the time slots fit, the amount of time that everyone was just enraptured with what he was saying. So we decided to give him the proper amount of time on a properly sized stage in a properly sized room so that we could fit in everybody who wanted to listen to what he had to say.
Absolutely.
I mean, I jest to a certain degree. That is not the reason we moved to the Rio on Tuesday night, but it certainly does help. Cioni this year is going to be doing the State of the Digital Union. He used to do that all the time at IBC. It was kind of like a once a year thing that he would do, and he'd rally everybody together, and we all got really excited about the current state of where digital media was and where it was heading. And for the last 2 years, he kind of took some deviations at Faster Together and did, his bit about having Stockholm Syndrome for Apple. Right. And then last year he did The Rhythm of Resolution, his 8K speech, and why he believes that we ought to be distributing in 8K. But this year he's going back to the State of the Digital Union and is going back to the thing that a lot of the people in the post-production community have really been excited for and kind of looked forward to every year at IBC. Well, now it's going to be at NAB, and we're going to have Cioni there on stage kind of giving us all an update about where things are and where they're headed.
So that's do you know, is he going to be like at the beginning or the middle? Do you have that figured out yet? Speakers?
I believe, I don't have his exact time slot, but I believe he's going to be toward the beginning.
Okay.
When I say toward, I mean at least within, I think, the first half. I'm not positive about his time slot, but it will be it'll be before the raffle and after the introduction to the evening. So somewhere between when we start and when we end, he'll be presenting.
Absolutely. So this time I think I'm going to hang around the green room a little bit.
The green room?
Don't you have one?
Oh, God. I guess we need to get a green room.
I thought they had one back there.
What, at the Rio?
Yeah, because people come from the stage. They come from the stage, the right-hand side of the stage. So I presume there's something down there that's some kind of a green room or something.
Well, you have to remember this is not the Super Meet. This is the Faster Together stage, so the layout's going to be a little different.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. It is the Faster Together stage. We are excited to have Michael Horton hosting, and we are excited to be at the Rio on Tuesday night, but it is not an exact repeat of the Super Meet. It is not even an attempted repeat at the Super Meet. It's an attempt at having the Faster Together stage in a much bigger space and bringing the post-production community together and providing a place for people to hang out that Tuesday evening.
Absolutely.
So all of that to say, will there be a green room? I don't know.
Well, I don't even know if there was one. I just presumed because people were coming from the one side of the stage constantly last year. Maybe there's not a green room.
Well, I mean, I think inevitably there will be a backstage area because we have to build up a stage and then have a place for AV, which is always so exciting.
Yes.
So there will possibly be an AV area, whether I would call that a green room or not. I don't think anyone's going to have their bowl of M&Ms with, all green minus one red M&M.
Right, exactly.
But we'll see.
Absolutely.
We'll see what happens. That's up to Jeff Worthwine.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Jeff's going to do it again with you guys. So,
that's right.
Yeah, so last year I didn't go down there when I was there with Michael, but I think Michael told me last year that he could not get in there any earlier than Tuesday morning.
Are you talking about Horton?
Yeah, Michael Horton, the former host of the Super Meet. I said, well, you probably get into that room like Monday or Sunday night. He goes, we can't get in there till Tuesday morning. That's like, wow. Is that the same this year? Do you know?
I'll tell you this, that renting space is not cheap.
Okay.
But beyond that, I don't have details on that currently, no.
Because that's a lot of setup to do in a short period of time in one day. You guys, man, you better sleep all day Sunday and all day Monday.
You know, the last 2 years we had a full prep day.
That's what I'm saying.
Before everything began, and then we had a full teardown day after everything was done. But we also had a team of, 5 or 6 people doing the entire thing. So hopefully we'll have some more help with setup and teardown this year. Especially because, I won't be in that room the entire time. So, we're going to have some help. Yeah, still working out some details on some other stuff, but there's some other exciting stuff that various team members of LumaForge should be doing. It should be a lot of fun. But yes, Tuesday, man, it's going to be. I don't want to think about setup. The event itself is going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely,
the event itself is going to be a ton of fun.
And then I think when I talked to you and Sam last time, there's still going to be a lobby with vendors in it before the event.
Yeah, we're going to have an expo area. And I believe that we're also doing kind of like, we've done the workflow suite in past years.
Right.
And so I think within a portion of that expo area, I believe we are doing a workflow area there as well. So there will be LumaForge and friends kind of hanging out with some tables there doing some stuff off of the jellyfish is the plan. So we'll have an expo area and then the stage itself. So that is our plan as of current.
Okay, so that's good though, because I enjoyed that when I've been there the last 2 times, just hanging out with people, talking to different vendors. Everybody comes there as well.
Yeah, I think you're mostly excited about the food though, aren't you?
I don't eat that much of that food.
Do you not?
No, never. I just don't. I a little bit, because here's why. I got all my equipment. I have cameras and tripods, and it's hard to kind of eat and
eat and have all that stuff on. Yeah,
and then try to worry about doing live streaming and talking to people with a microphone. You have a microphone in one hand and you got a burrito in the other hand. It just doesn't work that well.
Yeah, and then where's the camera go?
Well, that's always an issue. You got to, it's. Sometimes I wonder, should I do this or should I just relax? But I do like I do like live streaming, and I do like video recording. I'm just the person who videotapes just about everything. So, I had a live stream today up locally was some of this. We had snow out here.
What?
Snow.
There's snow on the East Coast?
Look at this. I don't know if you can see that or not. You probably can't.
I can see in the reflection in your glasses that there is white on the screen.
Okay, but on the YouTube feed, people will see the snow. It's just pouring down snow. I think it's let up since I took this video. Yeah, they were calling for 6 to 8 inches, I think, but which is a lot for us. We haven't had that much snow for quite a while, and that's probably why the internet was down as well.
Probably so.
Well,
should we talk about the rest of the lineup?
Well,
do you think people care about who's going to be there?
I think people are very much care about who's going to be there. I know I am. So Michael Cioni, Senior Vice President of Innovation at Panavision.
That's right, yeah.
We know him. He's like one of the keynote people that you always have.
Yes. Yeah, he definitely is a big draw. That's why we're thrilled to have him back.
Right.
And plus he's just a fun guy. I really like Cioni. He's been a hero of mine personally for years. Oh my gosh, like 7 years now. And so for him to agree to be on our stage is an honor and a privilege.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've always enjoyed when he's there. Every time I've seen him speak, I've always enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. We've also got 2 other people that we've announced.
So let's do one at a time. Let's do
one at a time.
Jonathan Morrison first.
Jonathan Morrison, yeah. Jonathan has quickly become one of our favorite people to collaborate with. He picked up a jellyfish last year. And when he did, we got to go over to his office and check it out, and he quickly kind of flipped the script for me, changed my opinion about what it means to be a YouTuber. I think a lot of people think of, oh, it's just going to YouTube. Doesn't matter if you shoot it on your phone. Doesn't matter if you light it right. It's just going to YouTube.
Right.
And Jonathan, shoots with an Alexa camera and uses, large lights with reflectors and flags, and his lighting game is on point, and he makes sure to record his audio as pristinely as possible.
Right.
Gets nice lenses, uses motion controlled dollies, and just watching him, you'll notice there is a slight difference between the video we just put out yesterday about the Red Dragon compared to the quality of the videos that we were putting out last year, and that's because we hung out with Jonathan Morrison. And despite the fact that I've worked in television and film for a while, and had been looking down on YouTube to a certain degree, now I'm like, well, okay, yep, you can do up to 8K on YouTube, and there are people on YouTube who are, getting higher quality cinematography and editing than people in television and film. I worked on shows for cable TV that didn't care about the lighting and the sound nearly as much as he did. So, or as he does. So
right.
we're really excited to have him come and talk on the stage. And just to get this perspective from kind of a new media world, but from somebody who's extremely professional within that world, and really gives a brand new name to what it means to be a professional within 2019 in the video field.
Absolutely. So that's also an exciting speaker. And who is the other person you have? Let me announce him. John Aldrich.
Yeah, John Aldrich. He's got a documentary called The River and the Wall that he's been working on for the last while. And can you guess by the title, The River and the Wall, what the documentary might be about?
I can.
Well, what would be your best guess?
I would guess that it's the border wall between the United States and Mexico that goes through the river.
Yeah, so it's about the proposed border wall and how it would affect wildlife and the natural environment around the Rio Grande in Texas. And it follows the personal stories of a number of people, and also just is chock full of beautiful. We got to watch the first little bit of it, and it's just absolutely gorgeous, well shot. But it also does a really good job of talking about how we got to where we are. The fact that Donald Trump is not the first president to talk about doing a border wall, but he's the first one to shut down the government for, Well, I don't think it goes into that because that hadn't happened by the time they locked picture.
Right.
But, he's the first one to make as big of a push as he's making for it. So I think that it'll be interesting to see how the movie itself turns out. They're an official selection at South by Southwest, so it'll be premiering at South by Southwest here in a bit. And we're excited to hear from John about the making of the documentary and what the process was like in post-production.
So what kind of cameras did he use, do you know?
It was a mix. He used the Panasonic EVA-1 before ProRes RAW was a thing.
Okay.
He also used a number of DJI drones, and their A camera. They actually started this entire process by doing a short film that was shot as part of a competition for Red Digital Cinema. So they shot with some Red cameras for the short film, and then toured with the short film and raised money to make the feature film by showing it at a number of places around Texas. And then they used at least one Red camera. I think it may have been a series of Red cameras plus the DJI drones and the Panasonic EVA-1. So those were the three primary cameras that they worked with. Now, they didn't work in our favorite NLE, Richard.
Oh, no.
I know.
Avid?
Nope.
Premiere? Resolve?
Yes.
Resolve.
Well, both actually. So the interesting story from a production standpoint or post-production standpoint is that they started in Premiere, but because they were having so much trouble ingesting media, they decided to see how quickly they could ingest the same media in Resolve, and something that was taking them the better part of 3 weeks in Premiere took them half a day in Resolve.
Why is that?
Yeah, that's a great question. You'll have to come to the presentation. I think part of it had to do with thumbnail generation. I think part of it had to do with the fact that they were handling red media, and just getting it processed and ingested was taking a long time. So, what it is, what it is. I'm really excited to hear the story about how they got where they went. I believe we are going to have a special guest moderating a talk with them.
Okay.
That'll be forthcoming. We'll have an announcement around that in the near future. But somebody that a lot of people should know and be excited about. But yeah, it's a really interesting documentary. Their production and post-production process was really interesting. But I'm really looking forward to just hearing about their entire experience from beginning to end.
Absolutely. So I went on Twitter this morning, and I've been plugging your Faster Together stage lineup. The 3 people plus Michael Horton has been on there, and I asked people to either vote and or guess who the other people are going to be.
Well, I'm interested to see what people have said. It will have, unfortunately, zero bearing at this point on who's going to get programmed, but I am interested in who they guessed, for sure.
Well, that's. Let me just pull this up real quick.
Yeah. Looking forward to this.
So this is who we have right now, and I put up the. You can't see this, but I have a screen grab of your web page with the 3 presenters, Michael Horton on the bottom left, and then I have 2 question marks next to the 2 of the blank spaces, and I asked people what they, number one, who they would guess and who they'd like to see. And one of the people said, which I thought would be interesting, Walter Murch. I'm like, wow, that's an interesting, I said, that's a good guess. And the guy said, I forget who it was, he said, good because it's accurate? I said, no. I said, just good because it's interesting. At this stage.
Certainly interesting, yeah.
Certainly interesting at this stage. So that was the one that was rather interesting, should say. There's been some other guesses, too. Oh, here's one of the things that people have consistently asked.
Yeah.
Do you think they will have a YouTuber up there? Because you have all these professionals in the industry. And since YouTube, as you know from iJustine and other, last year at the FCP Works Apple Final Cut Pro event at NAB, they had that guy that had how many billions of downloads at?
Oh, for Despacito.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, another YouTuber. And so that was one of the questions just going forward if they would have a YouTuber. Well, somebody said, why wouldn't they have a YouTuber? And I said, there's no reason why they wouldn't in 2019, just my opinion. And they came back and said, well, why do you think they shouldn't have one? I said, I didn't think they shouldn't have one. I think they should have one.
Well, and as you see in the lineup, we've got Jonathan Morrison, who's got 2.6 million subscribers on YouTube and over 368 million views, I believe.
Now, how do they do that?
He consistently makes interesting content for almost a decade. That's how.
A decade. Only a decade.
Yeah, well, it's been 8 years. 8 years. 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
So, yeah, he started in 2010, so he's going on 9 years, yeah. He's going on 9 years of creating content on YouTube, so that's – and he does it consistently, so, I think that's probably how he does it.
Absolutely. So who would have thought YouTube would be taken over like it has?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, that's how I watch the majority of my content.
Absolutely. Me too.
When I get home at the end of the day, that's how I watch late night television, Colbert, Seth Meyers, those guys. That's how I watch videos before I go to bed. I'll still go to Hulu or Netflix if I'm watching, a TV show. But, I'd say at least half of my video consumption at this point is on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I remember when Google bought YouTube, I said, what are they doing? They bought it for $1 billion or something like that. I said,
well, it seems to be serving them well. It's the second largest search
yeah.
engine on the internet. So
Absolutely. I mean, YouTube has really become YouTube and Netflix have really disrupted a lot of things in the TV industry, to say the least.
Yeah, well, and I love about YouTube that it's one of the few platforms where you can upload and display in both 8K and HDR.
So how does that work with 8K? Do you have an option of watching in 8K? You do.
You do. Yeah, only on Chrome so far. Right, but if you've got an 8K display, yes, you could theoretically open up YouTube and play pixel for pixel in Chrome. An 8K video.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have Mr. Michael Horton, who's going to be, would you say master of ceremonies or just host? Or
I think host is a good title.
Okay.
Yeah, I think host is a great title. He's I believe he's also running the world famous raffle. So
the raffle.
The world famous raffle. Not the locally somewhat talked about sometimes raffle.
Right.
The world renowned raffle will be run by our good friend Michael Horton. And we'll see. Yeah. I don't. Again, we're still kind of early in the planning of this, so giving away too much could potentially be misguiding, right? Because things still have the option to change between now and then.
Absolutely.
But I know without a doubt he's host, and that we've got the world famous raffle. Excited for that. And that's it in terms of people that we've announced so far. Now, the question I have to ask for you, Richard, and for your viewers are, who are you most excited to see?
I like all three of them. All three of your guests. I'm a big fan of Michael Cioni, as you are as well. So It's always good to see him and get to talk to him. He hangs around afterwards. He doesn't just come and disappear. So that's the biggest one I would say would be Michael. But like I said, all three of them. I'm going to talk to this guy, Jonathan Morrison, about YouTube, how he thinks he got to such large numbers on YouTube. Yeah,
it's a great question. We actually did a interview with him at Lossy Pug back in January, currently on our channel. So if you want to find out a little bit about his history, you can go and watch. It's 20-ish. No, wait, I'm sorry. Somewhere between 12 and 20 minutes.
Okay.
I don't remember off the top of my head. The actual interview was about 30 minutes. We cut it down because he and I get really excitable and talk about things that nobody else cares about.
Sure.
So it's a little bit shorter, but he does talk about his growth process on YouTube, and he talks about how Final Cut Pro 10 played into a lot of it, and how why he's using a jellyfish to grow his team starting this year. So,
how big of a team does he have then?
Oh, he's got, I think it's 8 guys. Let's see.
Okay.
It's him, JD's his right-hand man, Rich, Courtney, Stevie, Drew, he's got a social media producer, and I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, and I don't remember who. Yeah, but it's about 8 people on his team.
Okay. And YouTube's Final Cut Pro seems to be pretty popular with YouTubers. A lot of them.
A lot of the big ones. Especially the ones that we are following. iJustine, Marquez Brownlee, and Jonathan Morrison, all three of them are big Final Cut Pro 10 users. So is Austin Evans, who is another tech YouTuber. And what's funny is that he consistently does content about like Windows laptops and Linux this and Razer that, and it's almost all edited in Final Cut Pro 10, which brings a smile to my face.
Absolutely. So who knows what's going to happen as far as Final Cut Pro is concerned at NAB? It's up in the air. At one point, I thought we'd see an update. I'm not convinced that we won't see an update, a feature update, but I'm not convinced that that'll be 10.5, but we'll have to see. I mean, Apple's already announced the 2019 Mac Pro, which I am most excited about. I'm holding off any purchase of a Mac, which I am in the market for, until I see what that thing is.
Yeah, I saw somewhere online there were some conceptualizations. Someone had an idea of what they thought it might look like. Did you post that?
Yes, I did.
Tell me more about that. What?
Well, the interesting thing is, let me see if I pull it up. There it is. So you probably can't see it, but the internet can see it. YouTube can see it. So it looks like a mini cheese grater. Now, the reason I say that, if you look at the top of the picture that's up right now, first off, it's aluminum. And then it has the cheese grater dots all the way at the top where the vent is. Now, this is somebody guessing. But I've said all along I'd like to see a mini cheese grater. And by mini, I don't mean minuscule. What I mean is just a smaller version, maybe a more compact version of the cheese grater, which I was a big fan of. And a lot of people were.
Yes, and the cheese grater also had big fans in it, you know.
Well, that's true. That's true.
A lot of empty space in those guys.
And there's a reason why they called it a cheese grater. It's because it looked like a cheese grater physically.
And that's where G Technology got their design for all of their hard drives for a long time.
That's right. They looked like they belonged with the Mac Pro. But I have an Intel Mac Pro and I have a G5 Mac Pro, or whatever the Power Mac they called them in those days.
Oh, yeah?
Downstairs, yes. Because, look, I run my recording studio with them. And by the time I'm done, you don't get anything for them. So they're worth more to me to have than trade them in. So, and
well, sure, yeah.
All my sessions will work from those. All the plugins are the same, and because audio, boy, I tell you, the OS and all that really wreaks havoc on plugins. And
Does it?
Yeah, and I have tens of thousands of dollars worth of audio plugins.
I mean, what's your favorite audio plugin?
My package is Waves by far.
Waves?
Yeah, Waves is my favorite. I have their Mercury package, and that's my favorite. It has an incredible suite of plugins for audio stuff.
Yeah.
Some of them work in Final Cut, some of them don't, but I usually do my audio in Logic, so it's not an issue.
Yeah. My favorite audio plugin still to this day is it's not actually a plugin, it's a standalone application, is Isotope's RX6 Advanced.
Right.
Where you can do, basically, instead of trying to play things back in real time in Final Cut, you can bounce your audio out. I'll usually do like a compound clip and then do the sub rolls,
right,
and then export the sub rolls separately and then bring them into Isotope RX Advanced, and I'll go through and do a few denoise passes as opposed to one large denoise pass.
Right.
Just do some gentle passes to
right.
slightly scrape the noise off. And then I'll do some compression. I'll do some EQ, and you can go and surgically paint some sounds out and stuff like that. So it's become definitely my favorite audio tool outside of the Logic tools that are built inside of Final Cut.
Yeah, I have those. Let me see, I bought 4 and 5, and I skipped 6, and then I bought 7. When it just well, because I didn't use it that much, and then I figured rather than pay for 2 upgrades, upgrade for 6 and upgrade for 7, because they're not cheap. They're kind of expensive.
Wait, is 7 already out? Is RX-7 already out?
I thought so. Or am I thinking of 5 and 6?
I'm behind the times.
I think it is. Yeah, I think I had 4 and 5, then I skipped 6, and then I waited for 7 to come out, and then when 7 came out, I bought that on a sale. So I didn't pay for the upgrade for 6 and the upgrade for 7.
Macroscope?
That's interesting. I can see Tony on Skype, but he's not. Oh, there he is. What am I doing? There he is.
Did you get him into the thing?
Yes.
All right. Now we've got everybody.
What I had to do was I had to go to Skype, and I don't know what the heck I did. Everybody, Tony Gallardo, up that side. No, this side.
This side?
This side.
Am I that way?
There, you're over that way.
That way.
I'm that way. Perfect.
So Tony, did you see the announcement from? I'm sure you did. I'm just being rhetorical. Did the announcement for Faster Together for the initial lineup?
I did. I saw it this morning on Twitter, and I instantly hit the like button and retweet button. I'm pretty pumped. I'm excited about, especially Mr. Cioni. Big fan.
Yeah, I am too. So who else would you like to see besides the three that have been announced? Now, somebody said on Twitter this morning, Walter Murch.
I would love to see Walter Murch on there. That would be great.
Yeah.
So would I. If anyone's got his number, let us know.
Yeah. Because
I know a guy.
yeah, like you said, all the people are not using Final Cut. Jonathan is, Michael Cioni is, but John Aldrich was using Premiere and Resolve.
Then switched. Yeah, he was using Premiere, then he switched to Resolve. So the majority of, actually all of the doc was cut in Resolve.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that, to see the process and what hurdles were overcome or what new challenges arose. So that's really got my interest as well.
Yeah, so every time we see a big, some kind of a big feature or big documentary, we're always interested in how they overcame the hurdles that they had. I mean, like you said, he was started in Premiere and he had to go to Resolve. So that's going to be interesting to hear him talk about that.
Oh yeah, I'm personally not a Resolve or Premiere user day to day, but I am very interested in seeing what their process was, because I mean Resolve is a great tool for finishing. I use it when possible. I say when possible. Basically, on our big flagship projects, I'll use Resolve to do the color grade and mastering and that sort of a thing. But the color tools in Final Cut are so good at this point that like the majority of stuff we just grade in Final Cut.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. Every time I try to do something else in Resolve, or I've played with the iPad app Luma Fusion for a while, and that thing is incredibly powerful. But I still, when I want to get work done, I still go back to Final Cut.
Yeah, Luma Fusion is really cool if you're wanting to edit on your phone or on your iPad. Speaking of, Jonathan Morrison uses it whenever he's on the road, which is really interesting. So I've downloaded a copy and have been playing with it. On the iPhone screen, it's a little more difficult to get an edit done with so little real estate, but you can still. Right. It's amazing like how much they've actually fit of the UI into.
That's crazy.
You've got your import, your timeline, and your viewer all in one place, and it does look very similar to Final Cut Pro. And I believe it's got some of the same magnetic-ish features while still remaining a track-based NLE.
Well, so. you know what I was surprised that they had? They have auto ducking.
Oh, yeah, they do.
That's pretty cool.
They have color correction.
They do. And they've got some effects and transitions built in, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
I'm always
shocked.
a sucker for star ripe,
But did they have the page curl turn?
I don't know if they have that one.
They don't have the Kiki wipes, so I'm not interested.
I don't know if they have that one specifically, but I was always amazed when I had them on how many things you can do on an iPad. I keep thinking there's got to be limitation. And they said there's not really any limitation. They said a lot has to do with Apple and their implementation and their OS and the their hardware of the iPad. And it's just going to get better, but she said they're not looking for any limitations, that they're going to keep on going, and they don't really see one.
She comes from an editorial background. She's been editing for like 20, 30 years, something like that.
Right.
And what's really interesting, Charlie Austin, do you guys, Charlie, right?
Yep. I've had him on the radio show. Absolutely.
Yeah, so Charlie and I were at a dinner together once, and he came over to me and he showed me he had recut an entire movie trailer in LumaFusion on his phone just to see if he could do it.
Is that
that's
right?
That's not the one that aired, right? But it looked as good. Like I watched it and it was like, yeah, I could totally see that airing right now. He added his Boom library audio effects, and he had his dips to black, and had his cuts to the music and all that stuff, and it's a legitimate tool for iOS, and I don't know.
I'm really
interested in playing with it.
that iOS, the Apple will open up iOS, especially on the iPad, to be able to interface a little bit more like a computer. I mean, they've got USB-C on there, so just make it so we can access file structures, plug in a hard drive directly. Then that's going to be a pretty powerful. I mean, it'd be great just to plug in a little portable drive, do some editing, send an XML right out, and then go straight into Final Cut.
Well, and the thing I like about LumaFusion is that it's got its own file browser, right? So you can actually go in and import. Here, let me see if I can bring it up.
LumaFusion is going to be. They're having a mobile group of people at NAB where they're all going to occupy the same area. Them and Filmic Pro and a couple of other ones. Iographer Dave, I talked to him on one of
Dave
these.
Basulto,
on these live, and he's going to be. I thought he said he's going to be off-site with an educational group of people for NAB. But he of course is very popular with his Iographer setup. I mean, he's done incredible things with the iPhone. So I'm looking at getting a lens for my iPhone, a small one, if I could.
Have you heard of Moment?
That's the one that everybody talks about. They have the case.
They've got a good little system, nice little modular system. I think they have anamorphic lenses too.
They do. The Moment anamorphic lens. They and Moondog Labs, but I think that a lot of people are going toward Moment because they like the flaring on it better. Okay, so here's the import interface for LumaFusion, the root.
Got it.
And Tony, can you see it?
Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
I have to say that there's one option on there that I'm particularly interested in.
iCloud Drive?
Wireless drive?
No. A little closer to the top there, Richard.
Network drives.
Yeah, there you go.
Network
drives.
Network drives. So I got to do some testing in-house to see what we can pull off, but
that would be pretty slick.
That could be pretty slick. I mean, I'm just imagining a world where, someone like Morrison is at his office and has his jellyfish on his wireless network and pulls footage to his iPad and then heads to New York and is able to put together a project using footage that he already had in office and stuff that he grabs out in the field,
That would be pretty amazing.
I'd be pretty stoked for that.
Yeah, I would too. We just started doing stuff over AirPlay just to test.
Right.
Like from a little laptop, plugging it into the jellyfish and just doing editing and mirroring we just got an LG OLED TV, and I'm surprised at how well that works.
Really? I'd expect all sort of latency and stuff like that.
So would I, and it's not too bad. Every once in a while, it does kick in. I mean, we wouldn't use it for, everyday use, but it was much better than I thought it was going to be for just quick run and gun. It was, wow.
Yeah, probably not great for your frame-to-frame trimming to get that right. But you might use it to play back a sequence for somebody in the room?
Absolutely. We've done that. Client was walked in and just real quickly airplayed it to the TV, either mirroring it or just using it as a secondary monitor.
Wow.
And it works. It stays in sync on the monitor. It's just not in sync off the computer, but it stays in sync on the monitor. So I was like, that's not bad. It's pretty slick. So yeah, wireless iPads, USB-C straight into the network, grab footage off the jellyfish, throw it onto your OLED. That'd be pretty sick. I would go for it.
So, Tony, Richard, I'm sorry to take a quick rabbit trail, but you're a jellyfish customer. I wanted to ask, well, I've got you here on the line. Are you using any sort of MAM or anything to keep track of your assets, or do you keep track of those pretty well through your libraries?
Oh my gosh, that is a giant can of worms. I have been actively looking for a MAM system, and so I go into a great giant rabbit hole for each platform, each software company, and there's all these little hiccups. I have a couple of different needs that I'm trying to integrate. At the same time, there's a bunch of online solutions that are kind of coming up that have a lot of the same things as a MAM. So I'm kind of in a holding pattern. Right now, what we've been doing is we just started using FinderCat. and
Yeah.
that has been working. That's been holding us over tremendously. I just did a job where we have about 2,500 clips, and the client and the agency have their own internal little edit guy, and
Yeah.
then they use us. So we just Finder catted all of our tags, all of our keywords for them on the Finder level, gave them the copy of the drive. So now when they want to search, they can just find stuff, and their eyes just kind of like blew up. So we're kind of at that level right now, but we are looking to see where to go to, because we definitely need to be able to manage it. It's too much.
What are some of the things that you guys are looking to accomplish with a MAM? Are you? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call that a MAM. I would call that.
No. Yeah.
No. Yeah, there's Keyflow Pro 2, there's Cat DV, there's
Axel.
Kino, there's Axel, there's
Archieware I think has some as well.
Archaware does archival from LTO for sure. Do they have a MAM of their own?
Either they have one or I can't remember now. Either they have one or they're partnered with one.
Yeah, but I think that's mostly to find where stuff is on tape, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll put my cards on the table. We've been doing some testing in house for ourselves because we actually need to be able to, it went from being just me to now it's me and Celine doing content together, and I knew where, as you might say, I knew where all the bodies were buried. Right, within the Final Cut libraries.
Right.
And Celine did not, and I needed her to be able to work autonomously without having to ask me where to find footage, or without me having to think about where to tell her to find stuff. So we needed to find something that could catalog the libraries and make it easily searchable. And so we've done a bunch of tests, and we're actually shooting a video, another Edit Bay A episode about our findings, and I wanted to just kind of hear from you what some of the issues you're trying to solve are, so that it might help inform what we talk about.
So yeah, I would love to see what you guys are digging up. I kind of have a bunch of things I need. So I need the ability to obviously catalog everything, tag it, make it to where it's on the web, it's searchable on the web, so I can have my clients log in. A lot of times it would just help eliminate tons of confusion, because there's 10 different versions of ads, 10 different, there's so many different, there's thousands of clips. So for them to say, here, this is the one I need, I get a notification that says they need this spot, whatever, we need to send it to Instagram or whatever is needed. So something like that, that's searchable, that's accessible on the web, so my clients can log in.
So something like Axel or Iconic does that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
But whether it does it well or not is, I guess, kind of a question.
Yeah. And then the ability to make previews of stuff as well, small little proxies, even for offline drives.
Yes.
Sometimes we'll get a whole box of drives from a particular client or an agency that says, here's the last 10 years. We need to access this stuff, throughout our campaigns. So I don't want to necessarily have to store all that on my Jellyfish, but it'd be nice to be able to integrate that into the catalog and have preview files, because we use NeoFinder as well to catalog some other stuff, but it's just not enough to be able to say, is this what you're looking for?
Right.
So that integration with Final Cut would be awesome as well. And then somehow a backend to be able to use LTO. So
Yeah.
I don't need that now, but I will need that pretty soon after.
Yeah, and I think actually most MEMs we've looked into don't handle LTO on their own, but they will integrate with something that does. And the two tools that I'm most interested in seeing integrations with are Canister and Archaware. Canister just because I like how simple Paul has made Hedge video. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm really curious about that.
But I think Archaware has better integration with existing MEMs, so that's something I'm intrigued by. And the difficulty for me is, like, we have found for our own purposes in house a tool that we think is really great for organizing things that are on the Jellyfish. But it becomes difficult once you add a web component. Now, thankfully, there are integrations with things like Frame.io that are very easy to do, but Frame.io right now doesn't make metadata searchable. And if Frame.io did that all of a sudden, then you could use almost any MEM in conjunction with Frame.io, and you'd have like a 1-2 punch that allowed you to do both video review and because a lot of MEMs do have transcoding engines available to them, you could create proxies that go straight to Frame.io, so you're not eating up all your Frame.io bandwidth. So there's a lot of possibilities there. I just think that there needs to be some more development before you're not going to have an all-in-one package, I don't think, that does everything well.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be kind of surprised if somebody doesn't do that. I mean, like Tony, I need small proxy videos to preview.
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing is it's got to take care of drives that are offline. Obviously, it's got to have a database of anything that you've cataloged in the past, and then whatever metadata you need on top of that.
Yeah, and I think that's where you would have a combination between either NeoFinder and a MEM or Archaware and a MEM, because doing the offline portion is something that, unless you're spending $80,000 or more, you're not going to find a MEM that does that natively.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, too. It's like I'm in that middle ground where I need some of the enterprise solution products, but I'm not an enterprise level customer. And I only need a couple of them. I don't need all of them. But so I'm just kind of this weird middle ground where,
I mean, am I allowed to tell you guys which one we're using, or do you want me to keep that a secret until the video comes out?
When's the video coming out?
Week or two.
Tell us.
Okay. We've been playing a lot with Kino.
I'm a big fan of Kino.
Yeah, the look on Tony's face.
But it's not a MEM though, not yet.
Not a full MEM, I suppose.
Yeah. I tried using Kino, and it's good. It just didn't have the same, like, the features, the MEM features.
Well, the thing I like about Kino, go ahead, Patrick, I'm sorry.
No, I was just curious, which MEM features do you feel like you're missing?
Well, to be fair, it was when it first came out, so I haven't tried it. I think they're on version 2 now.
Oh no,
they're on version 1.5.
It was a pretty big update.
Yeah, there have been some big updates.
I haven't tried it since then. There was a bug where you would click on a folder, and if you didn't click on it right, it would like move the folder into the next upper one, or it was kind of like I wasn't sure about it.
Well, I mean, the thing I do like about it is that it does kind of double as a more eloquent video specific finder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, there is that possibility of dragging something accidentally. Potentially, but I've not had that as a problem so much. The things that I really am digging about it is the fact that entering metadata is relatively easy, and the fact that both subclips and tags become keywords when you bring them into Final Cut.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and so you can do subclips and tags and simply drag from Kino into Final Cut. It brings all the metadata along.
That's good.
and it'll bring the same metadata into Premiere. But instead of as it won't bring tags in, but it'll bring subclips in as ranged markers. And scene, take, shot, all that stuff will move over. And I love that you can preview your files. If you've got a bunch of log footage, you can add a LUT and preview the footage with the LUT as opposed to looking at it log while you're playing back.
Is that like a preference anytime you see red R3D, you preview this LUT so it's globally, or is it just like on a per clip basis or per folder basis?
It's not globally. So if you're working with, like we actually have a bunch of, now R3Ds aren't handled in the current release, but I think they might be working on a version that will change that. But if you're working with like ARRI log or Sony log or Canon log footage, then you can apply, any number of LUTs to an entire batch of footage. So you can grab a range of shots. If it's like you want to apply this one LUT to all of the shots from this scene, you can do that all at once. Or you can apply them individually shot by shot.
Ah, okay. You know what I did like about Kino was the drill down feature.
Yes.
That is, it's just, you have a folder full of clips and media, and you don't want to have to keep going. You just select that folder, and it just shows you everything. That is nice.
Yeah, and then the ability to like filter by codec or frame rate or clip name, filter by tags.
You're getting me excited, Patrick. I need to go dig up my license and upgrade it. Check it out again.
I mean, I'm a fan. I wasn't like you actually 2 years ago when they were at the Faster Together stage. I was like, meh, whatever. But they've got a really good integration going into Final Cut. They don't have one coming out of Final Cut back in right now. But going in, like, having a place where you can log your footage, like if you mentally prepare yourself, okay, I'm going to put my media on my drive and then I'm going to log it inside of Kino like I would in Final Cut, but because I'm doing it in Kino, now it can go into Premiere or Final Cut or Resolve as easily, right? Because Resolve 15 now works with old Final Cut XML for just bringing things into the media pool, and so we've done tests, and same metadata goes into Resolve as does Premiere and Final Cut, which is really exciting.
That's good. Is it? I remember the dialog box for the tagging or giving it keywords was a little funky. I have to go back and check it out, see how it is. It was kind of like a 4-step process to, like, once you make new ones, click here, add, save, and then go back. So I can't remember if it's the same.
No,
one.
I mean what our experience has been is that we can literally type in a new keyword or tag onto a clip, and it gets added automatically to a list. Okay. And my favorite thing is because we are a server company, we're testing on a jellyfish, right?
Yeah.
And with every other MAM that we tested, you actually have to set up like a server-side version of the MAM to hold a database, whereas Kino, because it's working with an index.
Uh-oh.
We got access to everyone's information.
There we go.
Are you not seeing this, Richard?
No, it just froze for a second. I was saying, oh, no, my internet went down again. No, it's fine. So the interesting thing about Kino, there's a couple of things. Number one is the media or the drive has to be attached. It has to be mounted. It does not store any information about offline. But I love, listen, Kino is one of the things I always use with Final Cut. The other one is ChronoSync. I love ChronoSync. You set up a backup to another hard drive, and I just keep, just press the button and it updates the library, checks, make sure your media. Fantastic. And they only charge one time for life. One time for life. But anyway,
I have a horror story about ChronoSync, but it was not for its intended use case.
Ah, there you go. But Kino, one of the things I use for Kino for, so when I'm looking at stuff on a card or something, you can set markers and export them all as stills in one go. Batch export all your markers as stills before it's even imported into the library. And I use that all the time if I'm just looking for stills to grab, because I shoot 4K. I just put marker, drop down menu, export markers as stills, and it batch exports every one of those markers as a still frame. I really like that feature a lot. So
I didn't even know that was possible.
Yep.
That's really
cool.
exciting.
absolutely. So
I also
Brad's in the chat.
Well, before Brad gets on, I just wanted to say the other thing I really enjoy is their transcode engine is really fast. And
Is it?
yeah, we did some tests where we transcoded a bunch of proxies to a Frame.io watch folder, and it worked beautifully. And because you can export XML for your clips, you can export an XML that describes the metadata in the clips and import that XML and connect to your proxy media and retain your metadata through Frame.io.
So you guys don't think that somebody could just consolidate some of these features into one single Superman? Superman. That's what we need.
Here's the thing: is every attempt that I've seen at that, it's a bunch of people that are trying to do everything, and none of them do any one of those things very well.
I see.
So could it be done? Yes, but they're very different from like an engineering standpoint, and so maybe it will be done. Maybe it will be done at some point, but I've not seen it. Not in the price range that a lot of us are comfortable working in.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
In other words, cheap.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there are places in town here that I'm sure have something akin to what they want, but it's probably not user friendly. It probably wasn't easy to set up, and it probably cost them upwards of $100,000.
So it's probably customized.
Easy.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Scripted?
Usually, like a full-on MAM setup comes like you hire an integrator to integrate.
Yeah.
Usually, you hire an integrator to integrate multiple tools together to make the Frankenstein's monster of a MAM that you need.
And it is a Frankenstein.
Yeah,
well, that's
and
the
it is
problem,
still a
yeah.
Frankenstein, but it's one person who's come up with a way to get all the tools to work together. But it's usually, even then, not a single tool.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So, Tony, you live in Texas, if I recall?
I do. Yes,
No
sir.
snow there, right, today?
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's 65 right now. Sun is out.
We
clouds
got like
in the
6
sky.
inches of snow here on the East Coast.
It was very gray and rainy yesterday, and then today the sun punched it all away. So it's beautiful.
Oh, that's nice. It's still cold here in California, which doesn't make sense.
Really?
Well, you got snow in Las Vegas last week, right? This week?
Well, we've got. I went on a hike not last week, but not last weekend, but the weekend before, and we started out hiking in, bright sunshine. It was too hot to wear a jacket, and then we, by the end of the hike, we were in. It was snowing on us.
Wow.
And that's a hike that's 30 minutes from my apartment. So.
What?
Yeah. So in Los Angeles County, there is snow. It's just not in Los Angeles.
Huh. So, Patrick, you are going to be at NAB, obviously. Are you going to be doing anything besides LumaForge stuff? Are you going to have time to go have a little fun on the NAB show floor, or is that you don't have any time for that?
Those details are still being worked out. There has purposely been set aside time for me to be able to be on the show floor, but where yet, I can't quite say.
Okay.
Because I haven't worked out those details. But there's a chance that you'll see me. Tony, are you going to be on the floor this year?
I will be at NAB. That's all I can say.
That means black magic. That means black magic.
So, Tony, cryptically, you and I might be neighbors.
Oh, okay. I think I know where you're going to be at then. I have a good guess. All right. That'd be awesome.
Still, like I said, still got to confirm details.
Sure.
But,
Same here. There's nothing yeah.
Is there anything is happening on Wednesday during the day or Wednesday night? You guys know?
For me, a long nap.
Right.
It's not going to happen, Patrick. You know it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
I was wondering if there's anything that I should think about.
When is the colors mixer?
Monday?
Usually Sunday, isn't it?
Sunday?
No,
okay.
FMC's is Sunday. I think
FMC.
Colorist Ball is Monday night during the typical Guru gathering, I think.
Oh, during the Guru gathering.
It has been, I think. And FMC has their big one on Sunday night with whatever it is.
Okay. I don't know what's going on Wednesday night.
Well, that's what. Even Wednesday during the day, nothing special. I mean, Monday and Tuesday.
Might as well leave Wednesday morning.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
As far as I know.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. There's not anything Wednesday that I know of that's super exciting.
Well, first off, I'm getting in there Sunday before noon.
Oh, good grief.
So, because the flights are, booked up and stuff, so.
You know what I think we need to do, guys? I think we need to petition for them to build an Armadillo Willie's on site at the LVCC. Between now and then.
There is an Armadillo Willie's. There are different ones, right? Just not in Cupertino.
Is there one in Vegas?
That I don't know.
No, there's no way that there's one in Vegas. That would be too good to be true. Let's see.
I need to experience this Armadillo Willie's. I wasn't able to.
You weren't?
The closest I have is San Jose, Santa Clara, and Sunnyvale.
Okay.
Where's Santa Clara? That's 4.5 hours. Oh, Santa Clara is over by San Jose. Okay, yeah, they're all in that area. Okay. San Jose, Sunnyvale, Cupertino. Never mind. I'm sure there's... No, I was going to say I'm sure there's good barbecue somewhere in Las Vegas, but I don't know about that.
No, I doubt it.
Being from Oklahoma and Texas,
I was going to say Texas. Yeah.
I mean, you're near Austin, right? What's that one in Austin?
Franklin's.
Franklin's is the big one. They ship, right?
They do, yeah. You can. So, funny story is, you have to get there extremely early. They sell out by 11 a.m. And so last year, like in November, I had a project. So I had a DP friend come out that actually met at NAB from LA, and he went up to Franklin's himself and bought a brisket to take back. So they have it vacuum sealed and everything. So yeah, he bought it and he didn't even share it with any of us. And I was kind of mad at him for that. But yeah, there's Franklin's, a couple of places.
So maybe we should Wednesday night. What we could do is we could have Franklin ship some barbecue to Richard's hotel room, and we'll.
That's it.
I'll make the cocktails, guys, and
I'll have an extra bed we can use to wipe our hands. The bed sheets.
Just use the sheets. You can't do that. That's not kind of the people in the service industry.
No, that's true. Because usually it just has equipment on. I get two beds.
We'll just get a giant napkin, a Texas-sized napkin.
There we go. I was going to say, come on, Richard. Haven't you ever worked in the service industry?
Construction, it would be the closest I ever came. But that's service. I was a carpenter, through the 80s and part of the 90s. And I really, really liked it.
But you didn't have people coming up. You didn't have customers coming up to you and yelling in your face.
Oh, all the time.
Oh, you did.
Oh, you kidding me? Dealing with architects and dealing with owners of the suites and stuff. I worked a high-end millwork installation in Washington, and we did stuff that architects designed. We would install these expensive lobbies, atriums and hotels, and all the time.
So you're not afraid of heights?
Not as long as it's safe, no. I'm not that great with it, but as long as it's safe, I'm not doing any skydiving anytime soon. I would have when I was younger, but not anymore.
Did you do any I-beam climbing?
I went up in New York Avenue in D.C. I had to go up a scaffold, rickety old, it was a scaffold to get up to a higher area on the floor and then take our tools and go across, and there was nothing down below. But no I-beams themselves. No, I didn't do the buildings. I did mostly millwork, trim carpentry type of stuff.
Oh, trim carpentry.
Yeah, but it's high-end, it's stuff architects design, panels and stuff like that. I didn't,
Jesus was supposed to be a trim carpenter.
Trim carpenter? He was a carpenter. I don't know about trim carpenter. They didn't have trim carpenter in those days, I don't think.
Well, maybe not trim, but supposedly you dive into the Hebrew or Aramaic or Greek or whatever it was, and it was a specific, like a fine carpenter.
Okay,
so
they call it fine carpentry.
It was more artistic sort of carpentry as opposed to rough structural carpentry. Yeah. Anyway, so Michael Cioni, John Aldrich, and Jonathan Morrison are coming to the Faster Together stage.
It's going to be a spiritual experience, guys. I can't wait.
And where can we keep track of where stuff's going on? FasterTogether.com.
FasterTogether.com. That's right. FasterTogether.com/nothing. There's nothing after the / because
there's a What do you call those? Cross hash?
Hashtag. Richard, that's for the different sections of the page. So you do hashtag what, and it goes to the specific part of that one page.
Gotcha.
This hashtag who, and it goes to that part of the page. But if you just do fastertogether.com, it'll take you to the main page.
Yes.
Those hashtags scroll you down the page, which is kind of crazy. But, yeah. Well, there is fastertogether.com/watch if you want to go watch both of Tony's previous presentations.
Oh, there you go.
Check them out.
There you go. So,
Yeah.
Tony, what are you looking forward to besides your presentation, wherever that may be with Black Magic?
Assuming that's what's
well,
I'm just going to take a guess.
I don't know what's happening, but I'm really looking forward to see what happens with ProRes RAW. I want to see if that gets deeper
up?
integration.
Yeah.
Opened up, or really the adoption of it. Like I would love for Airy to adopt it. I don't think that's I don't know, but it'd be nice just to see who's going to be adopting that. I have some production things I want to go check out, some lenses, but I don't think I'll be able to get over there. I'm really looking forward just to hanging out with all the Final Cut community. To me, that's the best part, is being able to just integrate and get that FaceTime with everybody.
Absolutely.
So many great relationships have been forged just by doing that, hanging out. So Colorist Mixer, now the Faster Together 2.0, 3.0.
3.0.
And there's a couple other events happening, so that would be awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, there's a lot of shifting going on this NAB this year. A lot of schedule changes that are being juxtaposed everywhere. That's why I asked about Wednesday. I wasn't sure about Wednesday.
Yeah. Now, other than that, I'm pretty much set. I want to go check out some Zeiss lenses and some SLR Magic lenses.
I'm wondering what Black Magic's going to introduce hardware-wise. I keep saying they're going to introduce the Black Magic Pocket Cinema 2, but who knows? I mean, I don't think that's real, but I mean, they certainly could.
Well, they just came out with the updated one, right? The 4.6K pocket camera, and it's now shipping, I believe. Now they've got over the hurdle of the delayed deliveries, or are they still being delayed? I'm not quite sure. I don't know if they've come out with a new one.
They came out with a 4.6, just 4.
Or whatever the
4.
I'm sorry, whatever the 4K. Sorry.
Yeah, but they announced it last NAB. They started shipping in September. They're still not caught up to demand. Now, I don't know if that's because of quality issue or because of, you would think they would have manufacturing done. But anyway, I'm wondering if they're going to update. I'm wondering what they're going to update. Usually they update something hardware, and I'm interested in that camera, so.
Yeah, I would like to see an update to the Ursa Mini Pro 4.6 and see if they have an update for that.
So Brad says LumaForged relationships. Very clever.
Yep. I knew that was coming.
Oh, you did?
Well, I mean, that joke, I almost made that joke. So.
Oh, okay.
I kind of hinted at it by saying forged, but I didn't.
I see.
I didn't throw the Luma.
And Patrick, if you have any breathing room that you're not working, what are you looking forward to at NAB? Anything special?
I've become recently kind of a camera nerd, so I'm interested to see what Red and Airy do. I'm interested to see if there's any more adoption or updates to how ProRes RAW is implemented. I'm intrigued to see if there are any lenses that'll fit a full-frame sensor that are actually somewhat affordable. I mean that's probably
lenses,
for me. What was
lenses,
that?
Lenses are a deep rabbit hole, man.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at working on a project with a friend on the side just for the fun of it, and we're looking at working on a sensor that's got it's a full frame sensor, and so we're trying to find, or I've been looking into like zoom lenses that'll fit a full frame sensor, and it's like, hey, Ingenue makes one. But,
yeah, they sure do. It's not too much. It's not too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Is it not? Although I guess most DSLR glass will probably fit a full frame sensor, but there's also the drawbacks of like forever rotating and never getting your focus and having a short throw on the thing. So being precise with your focus is difficult. And all that stuff becomes really important when you're working with a full frame sensor in shallow depth of field scenarios. So
we shot with some Sigma Cine Primes the other day on a Airy Mini, and those T1.5s are insanely clean and sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should definitely give it. They were PL, I think, PL mount.
Sigma.
Sigma makes their own Cine glass, and oh my gosh, the bokeh on that was just beautiful.
All right, I'm looking. Oh my God, five lens set, $16,000. That's the thing about any of these primes.
We rented them. We rented them, but they were just gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
Were they? Yeah, I mean, at that point, I might as well look at the Zeiss CP3s or the Cooke S7s.
They're a very good alternative to the Cooke look. These Sigmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, we've got the Rokinons because they're more affordable.
Yeah, no, definitely. The Rokinon has good glass.
But it does breathe more.
Yeah.
It does breathe more, and I don't know if it'll fit a full frame sensor. Anyway, Richard, to long answer to your question, I'm looking forward to checking out lenses, cameras, and integrations between cameras and post-production.
Absolutely. So when you say cameras, you mean cameras for work or personal or both?
Oh, for work. I can't afford any personally.
Well, one of the things that you guys know as well, when you buy into a lens system, that determines what camera you buy.
Oh, unless you work with a camera that comes with an interchangeable mount.
Oh, completely interchangeable?
And Metabones.
Well, yeah, I have a Metabones.
Yeah, no, I mean, we just finished, we published a video yesterday on the Red Dragon X. We got to play with one for about a week and a half. And I think one of the things I like about it most is that whatever glass you have, you can switch to a mount for that glass. And it's user interchangeable. So you can yourself, with the Allen wrench that comes with the Dragon X kit, change out the mount. So if you want to switch between a Nikon mount and a Canon mount or a PL mount, now mind you, the mounts they are not inexpensive. They're like I think a couple grand or something like that a piece. But you can also change out your optical low pass filter. So if you know you're going to be shooting in a lot of low light, you can put in a piece of glass that lets in more infrared or more red closer to infrared, so that you get a little bit more light and less red noise literally red noise on a red camera in low light. So, there are all sorts of flexibility with the Red's DSMC2 cameras. They're just expensive.
Yeah. So when you're talking about ARRI and ARRI maybe taking up ProRes RAW, they already do ProRes, don't they?
They do ProRes and they do ARRI RAW. Yeah.
They do ARRI RAW. So, I don't know if it would be that much of a stretch to do ProRes RAW, since they're already licensed.
It's just, do they have a marketing and reason to want to do it?
Right.
Yeah.
And what about, Tony, have you worked with Blackmagic RAW at all?
No, surprisingly, I have not. I haven't even worked with ProRes RAW. I just picked up an EV1 today with the Adamus, so I might do some ProRes RAW testing, but I'm not going to use it for my shoot tomorrow. I'm just going to shoot in regular ProRes HQ. And this it's a test run project. So once we do this test run, they'll give us the green light, and then from there we can jump to whatever we want. But
sure.
B-RAW is on the list. I need to get deep into testing that.
Yeah, B-RAW is interesting. I can't say that I don't like the way that it looks, and I can't say that I don't like having the metadata controls, but I can say that I don't like the fact that it's not actually RAW and they keep calling it RAW.
Semi-RAW.
Right. Just from an authenticity marketing standpoint, I'm not a fan of that. But is it functional? Is it what most people expect out of RAW? Yes. The thing it won't be able to do, like a thing I love about IPP2, for example, I actually had a call with Graham Natras just to try to understand Red RAW and their new color pipeline a little better.
Right.
but you can take footage from back in 2007.
Oh yeah.
Shot on the original Red 1, and their new debayering algorithm that's handled in post-production, mind you, changes how they handle texture, how they handle edges, and how they handle highlights. So you can actually end up with more detail in your highlights and more detail in skin tones and in textures with footage that is over 10 years old. So footage that's over 10 years old gets a new life because
I do that now all the time.
Because it's actually raw. Whereas with Blackmagic RAW, because they're doing the debayering inside of the camera, you're not going to be able to do anything in post to your archive. And you can't take an old camera. Well, I mean, I guess you can do a firmware update as long as the firmware update's available, but you can't change anything that you're not recording in that new debayering algorithm is screwed. So if they come up with a debayering algorithm that's better, even like 2 or 3 days into a shoot, you're not going to be able to see your footage benefit from it that was shot prior to that update. Whereas Red RAW, they make a change. ProRes RAW, they make a change, and all of a sudden you've got those benefits to all of your footage, not just the newest stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll get off my RAW platform. So,
No, Patrick. I am very interested in RAW. I really am. I'm not. I think I'll probably end up getting on with Blackmagic RAW first with the Pocket Cinema camera if they ever get that thing stabilized, because I don't think I'll be getting any cameras that are going to do ProRes RAW in the near future.
Well, you can always get that Nikon camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. $16,000. Is that
the Nikon camera is $16,000?
No. Oh, maybe you're talking about lenses.
It's a DSLR. It's their mirrorless one, right? Their new mirrorless one?
Yeah, Nikon ProRes RAW.
Probably
it's like
a couple grand.
The same size. Yeah, it's like going to be similar to a GH5 price.
Oh, okay. And that's going to do ProRes RAW.
Nikon Z7 and Z6.
Oh, output.
Output over HDMI, the raw signal.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in outputting. I want to record internally.
Well, that doesn't exist anywhere except for on the DJI Inspire 2.
And the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera for $1,200, $1,300.
Well, it doesn't do ProRes RAW.
No, I know, but it does RAW internally.
It does something called RAW that isn't
right. So, but Patrick, that little drone camera does it internally.
Yes, it does. So it's possible. It's just not been been implemented.
No, that drone camera is not that expensive a camera. So,
well, and it does 6K ProRes RAW.
What does?
The drone.
It does 6K?
Yeah.
I don't believe that's incredible.
It does 6K ProRes RAW recording. Yeah.
So that's good. That's good that it does that.
It's very good. I mean, I've worked on a project with the DJI drone, and the footage was excellent.
Right.
Just absolutely excellent. Well, if you've got a good
operator.
Well, of course.
Got a good pilot. But like the image quality is stunning. And thanks to the fact that you can now download whatever camera LUT you want into your footage for Final Cut, you can now do the DJI log LUT to delogify your footage, and it's just gorgeous stuff. But yes, I understand why you would want to do Blackmagic RAW, because functionally it's very similar to an actual RAW format. And
no, I'd rather do ProRes RAW.
It looks good.
No, you're absolutely correct. First off, since that DJI camera can do it internally, and since the other camera you're talking about can do it externally, maybe the GH6 or another one of their cameras that I might be buying might be, the next generation should be able to do it via HDMI then, right?
Well, the Nikon can do it via HDMI. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So, yeah, cameras can do it over HDMI. It's just Nikon's the first one to actually say, okay, well, we're up for the experiment.
Right.
Yeah.
So whatever happens with that, I am interested in RAW, whatever version. Yeah. But here's the thing. There's no incentive for Apple to keep ProRes RAW restricted. And
No,
probably
there's
just the opposite.
There's not. No, I mean they ought to want to license it out, and they ought to want to have it implemented in a lot of places. And my hope is, I'm fingers crossed, we'll see Adobe and or Blackmagic implement ProRes RAW into their pipeline come NAB. I would hope.
I'm thinking that one of them will for sure.
Yeah, I mean Premiere is probably more likely than Blackmagic because they don't see each other as competition from a codec standpoint.
And they just got ProRes too on the Windows side.
Oh yeah, they did. So there's incentive for them to do that. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Guys, I need to go eat some food because I then got to go record this MAM video that is about the mystery MAM that nobody knows about.
Right. So that'll be interesting, Patrick. I'll be anxious to see that. I want to thank you from the community. Sincerely, LumaForge is absolutely being a superstar at this NAB. They absolutely are.
So glad.
Seriously.
Yep.
Don't you think so?
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
100%. Especially just Sam, Patrick, and all the new team members. They're just everybody's got such an amazing spirit and heart and love for what they do and helping everybody at the drop of a hat. So thank you.
Hopefully you guys will get to meet some of the new exciting team members we have. We've grown a lot in the last year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know.
We've grown a lot. So I'm really excited. Really excited for NAB. Really excited to see both of you guys there. I'm excited to see anybody who's watching live and anybody who's watching in post. Anyone who's watching post this being live. Please come by, say hi. Really excited to meet you guys and get to hang out with the community. Just like Tony said, best thing about NAB is hanging out with the community.
So absolutely. So it's Faster Together, NAB Tuesday, April 9th at the Rio Hotel. And I'm going to put up that discount code one more time. FasterTogethers.com is where you want to go to keep track of current events on FasterTogether.com.
Right, yep, and pick up your tickets.
And there is the discount code. And apparently it's not good for a jellyfish. It's only It's only good for fast. Well, I told Bill Davis that it was a dual-purpose discount code. You can save $5 on a jellyfish, but Patrick said no, that's not the case. So.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about that, and I don't know how far that $5 is going to go.
Well, maybe a coffee, something. Tony likes his jellyfish.
Sure. Love